Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fusion's Ramblings. Today, or in this series, we just talk about random things for a few minutes. It could be anything under the sun, and you get to listen to me. Haha, isn't that exciting? Today's topic is something interesting. It is I don't know, a passion, a love, curiosity that I have, and that is volcanoes. Specifically, I want to share and talk about the current volcano that is erupting in Iceland, not too far from Reykjavik. And I cannot pronounce the name for the life of me, and I don't think anyone else can either, including people that live in Iceland, Icelanders, whatever you want to call them. And that's Glendindalar. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. But it's, yeah, uh, Icelandic or Nordic languages like that can be very tricky, to say the least, in how to pronounce them. But anyways, that's not the topic, although, hey, we're rambling. Um, I think that's really cool. It started erupting um, February, if I remember right, of this year, 2021. Um, and it was really interesting. They kind of thought it would erupt because there was a concentration of earthquakes, and there wasn't any volcano there. That's what's really interesting. It was just this little valley, volcanic area, but it was a little valley with kind of a mud pond down at the bottom where water collected from snow melt and rain. And, it was just moss embankments and old basalt, uh, you know, plains that have been slowly decaying over the years and slowly turning to dirt and stuff. There was nothing there, right? And no volcanoes, some low hills around it, items like that. And and then all of a sudden it just boop, this little crater, and then a second crater came up out of the ground. And while it was quite a hike to get there at first, people started hiking there within the first day, just regular people, and getting within feet of the lava and the actual volcano itself, the vent of where it was erupting, because it wasn't violent eruption. Um, it was really gentle, dangerous still, but really gentle uh, in what it was in the lava it was putting out, and fairly low amounts as well. Um, but wow, I think that was so fascinating. I would have done anything to get there. Obviously, with travel restrictions and all of that, that was impossible at the time, and it's almost impossible still. Although now you can start going there, but it was just neat to watch, the videos that people were posting from their cell phones. And then, of course, professionals started getting there, and people with drones and, YouTubers and other things started filming it on a daily basis. And they've set up cameras, and there's live cameras that you can go and watch it and just see what's happening. Um, and over time, of course, it grew, the two vents, and it started filling up that little valley because it was just in a little valley with no real outlets. It wasn't that a river flowed through it or anything like that, and so the lava just started building up, in there bit by bit. And you could watch the live camera and see people walking by, hundreds of people, all 24 hours a day. And in the middle of the night, you'd see tons of people with their cell phone lights walking around and flashlights. And then in the day, you'd see tons of people everywhere and helicopters coming in and bringing people in that didn't want to hike, that, had the money to pay for the helicopter rides. And it was just fascinating to see. Never before um, has a volcano been filmed just by the general public like that, with people getting so close to the lava and experiencing it and seeing it, and people were cooking marshmallows and hot dogs on the hot lava, and melting things and throwing rocks at it, and amazing that people didn't get hurt. There were accidents where people, twisted their ankle and things like that because of the hike, because it was really hard to hike there. Not that it was a long distance, but just, there was no trails, no paths, and you had to walk over old basalt lava fields, um, that, really rough ground, really rough. Um, and they put in some trails eventually, where they brought in some equipment and put in trails, mainly so they could get equipment there to study the volcano. But of course, hey, the tourists take advantage of it too. um, but anyways, I think that was just so amazing that people got to do that, and then to see their experiences, and what they were filming. Some people, of course, live in Hawaii, and they go, "Oh, well, we see Kilauea, and we can go up to the crater." Well, right now it's closed, but we can go up to the crater and we can take a look at stuff and see the lava lake. And when it was erupting a few years ago, homeowners were filming it as it was consuming their houses. I feel sorry for them. Um, but the authorities closed off all the roads and, made it impossible for an average person to just go there and take a look at it. If you were with the media or you were a scientist, you could apply for a pass or whatever, and then go. But otherwise, you were just fresh out of luck. You wouldn't be able to go. Whereas in Iceland, with this volcano there, anybody can go. And it's not restricted, and good for business for Iceland, I'm sure, because of the tourism that's it's generating. But they could just pop up and visit the volcano and see the lava up close and personal themselves. And I think that is just so awesome. And of course, now the volcano has grown. They've decided that it's a shield type volcano. It's not an explosive, one, or a stratovolcano as they're called. Um, and while you can't get as close to the actual volcano itself anymore because it's grown so large and the lava fields are huge, you can still get right up close to the new lava coming out through the lava rivers and the paths as it's expanding. And it's really neat to see how much it's grown in the past, what, 7 months, maybe 8 months at most, since it first came up out of the ground. In that, if you look back at videos from when it first started, you were looking down at the volcano from all the hills around the valley. And now those hills are gone. They have been buried by the lava. And, there's a couple hills that are still higher that are nearby that people can go to. But for the most part, you're now looking up to the volcano. It's grown that much, in just that amount of time, and just filled valley after valley after valley on its pathfinding to the ocean, which it hasn't reached yet, um, with lava. So it's really interesting, and it's curious of how much longer it's going to keep going, because it's not a continuous. It it erupts and there's lava coming out, um, consistently for 5-6 days, and then it stops and the lava subsides and nothing comes out for a few days, and then it pops up again and the lava starts pouring out again. So it's kind of funny how it does that. It's like it's, you know, it's going through cycles, but it's like it's breathing and it has to take a break, because it can't pump out the lava anymore or whatever. It needs some rest. But it's curious to how long it'll keep erupting. Um, there are towns and stuff that are nearby, and Reykjavik isn't that far away, and the international airport isn't that far away. And of course, what people are most concerned about is that the famous Icelandic blue lagoons at the power station is actually fairly close. If the lava was to start flowing in that direction, it could put the power station, the geothermal power station, and the famous blue lagoons at risk. And who knows if it does continue to erupt, and even at the rate it is, which isn't tremendous, um, in another year, it's going to be a gigantic volcano, a shield volcano. Hopefully, it won't change to an explosive type uh, because those are awesome to watch, but they're no fun because they're so destructive. Whereas this one here, yes, it can be destructive, um, but it's just presented a unique opportunity where the general public just gets to go up and experience a volcano, and they don't need special tour guides and special passes and training and all of that to go do it. They can just hop in the car, get the taxi, drive down the road out of the city, and then hike over to the volcano. And you just can't do that anywhere else. You can go visit volcanoes. I've visited several, both in the US as well as in South America and here in Asia. I visited a number of volcanoes. Um, None of them erupting, unfortunately, but just to go see, several have been active, like one in El Salvador I went to. It was an active volcano, and there were steam vents and stuff like that you could see down in the crater and whatnot, but no lava or anything. Um, but I just thought that that was an interesting, thing to share, and would be a really neat experience for anybody that gets to go visit and see that in person. And if you have, great. Hopefully you can comment about it and share your experience with us. But it's definitely something that I would have loved to do myself. Anyways, now that you're informed and maybe you know something that you didn't before, thanks for joining today's topic on Fusion's ramblings as we just rambled along while collecting sand here in our Minecraft world. Very exciting. I know we're going to melt it down and create glass. But anyways, thank you for joining, and we shall talk to you next time.